continuing with application of the bodhisattva path, we were talking about 6 paramitas. Diligence. We stopped as we were talking about the endurance of the profound path. In the Mahayana Sutras, we hear when Manjushri spoke the Shunyata, 500 arhats vomited blood and died. This, to us, is almost inconceivable, you know. But if you think about it, the emptiness that we are fathoming, we are imagining, is just not yet matured. You know, it's not. You know, we are not even getting the picture. That's why we are not having the vomiting the blood situation. Yeah, it takes a long time. You know, really long time to be the appreciator of emptiness. It takes time. As Chandrakirti said in the Madhyamika Avatara, emptiness or the Shunyata will be understood by people who are very smart, who have learned, who have gone through the training of logic and pre-study sort of. But he said more than that, emptiness will be understood by who has an inclination to the emptiness. Like those people, some of the people you encounter, like the moment emptiness is mentioned, instead of like feeling that it's not making sense, even though it is not really making a complete sense. Sometimes it gives us goosebumps, like tears in our eyes, and it really. So these are the people these kind of people will understand the emptiness. Like a habit, like. So I think reading Vajracchedika Sutra, being read, listening, having the text, copying the text, all these one way or another contributes to make ourselves become a better vessel for the teachings of emptiness. You know, the Dzogchen masters say, as long as you practice, years after years, as you practice, if you have something like this kind of experience, like this is it, that's it, some kind of conviction, that's it, this is it, this means that you are not yet there. That confirmation that that's it, nothing more than that, kind of. So as we meditate,
that means they're still doing.
No. The great Saraha, one of the greatest Nalanda scholar and a saint,
Nalanda.
and not being happy with the intellectual dharma, he went out. He basically ran away from the monastery, and he looked for the guru, the Vajrayana master, everywhere, high and low, everywhere. And finally, he met this woman who is part-time arrow maker, part-time prostitute. By the moment he saw her, he knew that this woman is going to be the key to the enlightenment. And when he saw her, she's making the arrow, and with one eye closed, when you shoot the arrow, you close one eye, and she really closing one eye and shooting the arrow, but there's no target. But still she sort of closed one eye as if there isn't a target. And when he asked her, why do you close one eye? I mean, you don't even have a target, just shoot anywhere you like. She said, with one pointed concentration, I will shoot my arrow, but I have no target. And there should never have any target.
那这
There
个女的
shouldn't be any target. Because if I have a target, I will have a hope for hitting it and a fear of not hitting it. Immediately, Saraha, like a fallen tree, fell his body, speech and mind and offered himself to her, and then she became his guru. And by the way, Saraha is not that small time guy. Huh? He produced some of the greatest students. Who else but no other than Nagarjuna is his student. And we now know on the top of our head, on the tip top, there is a prostitute disguising as a arrow maker. Diligence is another bodhisattva practice. One must have the armor-like diligence, like no matter what happens, not giving up. One must have persistence, diligence with persistence. One must have greed, like a very greedy kind of diligence. Like when it comes to the practice of the Dharma, one should never think that's enough. As Bhadra Rinpoche said, hungry yak, while munching a grass, his eyes is already looking at the next grass. And then, of course, samadhi, or the ability to concentrate. That's the nursing of our practice, indispensable. Retreating oneself, isolating oneself from all kinds of busyness. But more importantly, more than isolating oneself from city life, entertainment life, more than that, isolating oneself, retreating oneself from 8 worldly dharmas. Because until you are fishing for praise, afraid of criticism, so on and so forth, like looking for some kind of satisfaction, attention, fame, real distractions is there. So even though you may isolate yourself to a room or a cave, you will not be able to maintain your one-pointed concentration. Continuing with the 6 paramitas. We are talking about the samadhi. And just to remind you that we are still within the context of the bodhicitta. And to practice the bodhicitta, we are at the moment, there is a relative and ultimate bodhicitta, and we are talking about the relative bodhicitta. And within the relative bodhicitta, we have aspiration and application. And 6 paramitas are mainly the application bodhicitta. And applying the bodhicitta, there are millions. But to easily categorize, we have so-called 6 paramitas or 10 paramitas. And at the moment, I'm briefly going through the samadhi. The samadhi, as we kind of sit straight and, try to concentrate on whatever you are doing, like vipassana, shamatha, just basically one-pointedness. Do you know why samadhi is so important, especially this today, the modern world? The modern world do not contemplate enough. Modern world is world of reaction. It's all like we react towards things like fashion, for instance, gadgets, all kinds of things, all kinds of targets, like a remotely controlled vacuum cleaner, nose hair clipper, Philips clothes shaving shaver, all kinds of this, just react, like, and all these applications to download, of course. So it's a bit like babies and rattles. Rattling, like small things that, so, when the baby cries, then we have small toys that make sound, and baby sort of, momentarily, baby's distracted. And this, of course, this rattling gadget doesn't last long, the effect, it has to be upgraded. So that's the culture. That is our modern day culture. I think in the ancient time, there's a culture, it's very beautiful cultures like pilgrimage, walk, like going, like now these are dying. We have. So all this is making us making us forget this thing called contemplation. The culture of distractions and being distracted. Do you know what distract means? It means basically not being yourself, taking you somewhere where you will forget yourself. And that really makes us weak. So that's why all the modern day problems are also very, very, very unique. I have a friend who lives in New York. It's amazing, how she makes money. She makes a really good money. She makes money by traveling with certain men, and all she has to do is scold them. Scold them. Because they are big company bosses. These clients are big company bosses, and she's hired to scold them. I'm sure some of this has already happened here also. Whips and chains and stuff like that. I'm sure it's happening. I'm already meeting in also here, this part of the world. Not only Taiwan, the Asia. I'm already meeting younger teenagers who cut themselves, their wrist, their, thighs. They cut themselves because they want to feel, they say. Well,
yeah.
No contemplation, you see. So contemplation is so important. I think some corporates are now beginning to apply meditation, I heard, which is good, I guess, but the aim is to just relax. But here, contemplation is not just to relax. In fact, it's not to relax, it's for liberation. Imagine you are in the office, completely worked up, angry with someone else. Our immediate response is how to solve it, and the cause of it, and tackling the stuff like that. But not many of us contemplates on that I'm angry.
Whether I'm angry.
That I am at the moment angry. No judgment, just contemplating on that. Yeah, thinking, being aware of it. Basically, not itching for a solution. This quick reaction, looking for a solution, is the habit of looking for rattle, the toys. And as you know, all these rattling toys, they only work for a while. And then after a while, they themselves become a problem.
Yeah.
So, really, vipassana, samatha, so important. These. And as you do these, of course, in the beginning, you will be doing these meditations with some kind of a enjoyment to the taste of the meditation. When we meditate, it's always a bit of experience like clarity, non-conceptual, bliss. That's good.
这个呢很好，
But you can still improve. You keep on doing this. After a while, you are no more really attached to the taste of this bliss and clarity and non-conceptual. But you still apply samadhi or meditation as an antidote. It is still an antidote to a problem. That's very good, but
这
still not the best. You carry on. As you carry on, then you will meditate, you'll be in the samadhi, but this samadhi is no more an antidote. So there is no fear of a problem also. And then you have perfect your samadhi. I'm telling you this because the meditation is kind of in a way becoming a trend, and it's, people are beginning to like meditation, some people, not enough. So I want to point out that the meditation that is done in the resorts, in the 5-star hotels, or in the corporate retreats, they're all looking for the first experience. I was telling you that blissful, that non-conceptual, that's all. Beyond that, they are not really even aiming for anyway. If you are seeking for enlightenment, then you have to reach to the 3rd level, when samadhi is no more an antidote. When samadhi is no more used as a solution. At that point, the wall between concentration and distractions has collapsed. Well, the samadhi stuff, to teach like this much audience with different understanding and different levels and capacity is difficult. It's very experiential, especially unless you have a little bit of experience. Many of these descriptions is very alien. Going back to our air-conditioned sound yesterday, after a while, remember I was telling you, it becomes entanglement of thoughts. Then it has taken you for a ride. So around that level, this is how you will meditate. Okay, you are meditating, and your mind is going, distraction, and then you say, come on, come back.
那
You know.
这个时候
There's something to bring it back. Yeah. That bringing back thing slowly has to go. It doesn't, you will reach to a point where you don't have to bring it back. Right now, oh, you are distracted, right? I'm distracted. Let's go back to the concentration. So there's a clear distinction between the distraction and going back to the concentration. Towards the, as you continue meditation, the color, the shape, the taste, function of the distraction has changed. The distractions have now become awareness. Awareness.
你的干
It
扰
has
呢，
become mindfulness. There is a logic for this. It's very subtle. Huh? See, you are supposed to think of this, right? You are concentrating. You are doing shamatha in the beginning. Then your mind is thinking of this. So you are saying, come on, stop. Let's go back here. But do you know what's happening here? What's really happening is you are trying to distract yourself with this from this. Yeah? That's, both are distractions, But right now, for the necessity, out of the necessity, you are trying to distract yourself to only this, not with this. After a while, you realize they're exactly the same thing. Both are my mind. It's not like this is sent by some demon force with the fangs and horn and tail, disturbing you. It's your mind. This much I can tell you as a preview for the Mahasandhi. Beyond that, to this much audience, if I speak, there's one lady with only one teeth, and she may not be happy. She's very, like, you know, those possessive mother
就是这位
who
女
wants
士，
to know where you have been, who you have been with, what you ate, who you are calling, who you are texting, all sorts of things. The next is the wisdom. Again, gradually we develop the wisdom through hearing, such as what you are doing now. Hearing, listening, reading, researching. Then, after a while, you generate the wisdom of contemplation again, analyzing, asking questions, and really trying to see whether this works for you or not. And then lastly, generating the wisdom through the meditation, as we spoke earlier. These are a brief covering of application of bodhicitta through the 6 parameters. But Rinpoche emphasized so much towards the end of this section, this segment of the teaching, that without the compassion, the understanding of the emptiness will not take you to the liberation. Without the bodhicitta, all the Buddhist path is not different from the Hindu path. Even in Hinduism, there is mantras, mudras, and samadhis, and sadhanas, all of that. In fact, it is the refuge and the bodhicitta that really distinguishes the path of Buddha Dharma. As long as you have no bodhicitta and you are not basing on the refuge, no matter how powerful you are, you could be, your mo is very good. Mo, prediction, skill of doing the mo is very good. This is scolding to the lamas now. Even though your predictions actually comes true, even though you have the vision of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, even though you can fly and walk through the walls, if you are not basing with the refuge, and if you don't have the bodhicitta, you lamas.
You last.
You lamas. You may be a demon in disguise. You might as well not even exist. You are as useless as saliva that you spit on the ground. Way to measure whether your dharma practice is progressing or not is if your trust to the triple gems and if your compassion or the bodhicitta is growing, then you are doing all right. Again, continuing with the scoldings to the lamas, he said, he quotes here, he asked Milarepa, when should I have disciples of my own? Milarepa said, one day, when you look at your mind, you will see something that is not what you see today. At that time, you will look at me, even me, old father, calling himself Milarepa, old father, me, you will see me as the Buddha. At that time, you will also have a genuine compassion and love for others. At that time, you should have disciples. So many different varieties of teachings are taught, available. If you are seeking for enlightenment, understanding all of them is not necessary. Because at the end of the day, all these distinctions and the philosophy and all these, like arguments and logics, they're just a garland of conception. Instead, invest your time and energy in generating the compassion and love and bodhicitta. Dedicate all your merit. When Atisha Dipamkara was invited by Rinchen Zangpo, the translator, Atisha first asked Rinchen Zangpo, do you know this, do you know that, all the dharma stuff. Then Rinchen Zangpo also, answered all his questions, and Pande Atisha was so happy, saying that, well, what's the point of me, you know, such a great scholar like you exists in Tibet. What was the point of me coming all the way from India? Oh, by the way, this is before Atisha came to Tibet. This is Losaba Rinchen Zangpo is in India asking him to come up. But later Atisha asked, so, how, you know, you seem to know all the different teachings and different, you know, like rites and rituals and all of that. So how do one person combine them all and practice? Rinchen Zangpo replied saying, well, we apply according to each and every different sadhanas and the rituals and the theories. Atisha said, oh, you, a translator from Tibet, you are rotten. After all, looks like I need to come. Because even though you know each and every, you don't seem to know how to combine in every, all in one. Practice of the Dharma must go against cherishing the self. Practice of the Dharma must go against emotions, defilements. If a Dharma method is not contradicting your defilement, then that is not a Dharma practice. If Dharma practitioner is still comfortable with the worldly beings, then you are not a Dharma practitioner. So on and so forth, Bhattacharya Rinpoche spent more than half of this text explaining bodhicitta and the refuge.